Have you been recording so far or no?
No.
Yeah, all right. So in all seriousness, over the past couple years, I have had West Utica residents, you know, call and talk about the Barnes Ave Bridge and discuss the fact that, like, that community had access to the Marsh kind of taken away from them in 2010. You know, because it's, I mean, the bridge is dangerous, no doubt. And actually, I'm not even sure if you're technically supposed to walk over it right now, because they got the barricades and everything. You know, obviously people do walk over it and bike over it, but I guess I'll have to check that out. Since they closed the Barnes Ave Bridge, even though there's other access, schools, colleges, like all these different research programs, they've really had limited access because you can't really get in, or you can't get in, I should say, with an actual vehicle anymore. There used to be yearly cleanups, you know, earth science classes would go in and do different research. I know the local colleges have recently taken another look at the marsh because it's such a substantial conservation land, if you will, for them to research different biology. So, you know, opening this back up and making it a true functional resource for the city again, I think is something we've been missing out on since they closed the bridge. You know, and even back then, if you go back, you know, the Canal Corporation was even quoted saying they wish, you know, had wished that people could have come to the table and figured out how to keep that bridge open. You know, when I was a kid, we used to, a couple different times, we launched, you know, our boat and went to Sylvan Beach by going into the launch on Barnes Ave. We'd launch the boat. That was when the canal was open later, you know, as far as the locks go. But we'd launch the boat when we were kids and go fishing. And a couple different times we went all the way to Sylvan Beach. We'd eat dinner, go to the Midway, and then come back. And you know, unless you go out to Marcy or Rome in the city of Utica, you can't really do that anymore at this point. This is like the Ray Hill Trail, but because we really just closed it off, you know, there's still people that bike in and out from Marcy, from the canal itself, from the canal trail. But again, it's more of a closed loop now. You know, I've talked to some state officials. You know, I had a conversation with the current congressman, right, about this, just, you know, in passing. But, you know, 2010, it was estimated to repair that bridge at $3-4 million. I do see the value of bringing everyone to a table and saying, can we repair that bridge and open the access back up to actual vehicles? If people can use the bridge just as pedestrians as well, because right now it doesn't look accessible, let me put it that way, and I don't think you're supposed to be accessing it. This has an enormous capacity to consume water that does, you know, rise up every spring when the canal and the Mohawk rivers flow. This is real. This is actual wildlife. You're looking at it. Trees, you know, nature. It's something you can write about in a children's book, but this is important to the actual health of the community. I think the West Utica community definitely lost a direct amenity and resource, that was really, part of the well-being of the community. The Barnes Ave launch used to be used for kayak, canoe, and smaller boats all the time. You would see people with larger boats that wanted to, launch and pop up to Frankfurt or go the other way, through the canal. State land, wildlife management area. This is a legitimate piece of Utica right here. That entire complex just went up with the fitness mill. If we can actually reopen the Marsh for the Utica side genuinely, I could see there being trail runs. I could see there being a lot of activity, and it would just spur use. I had a couple people ask me, would that be an issue as far as the conservation goes, because then more people would be using it. And I think it's actually contrary. I think there was a lot more people in the marsh maintaining it when the Barnes Ave Bridge was open, because this is beautiful. I didn't want to even bring it up if public safety had some specific issue against it. But the reality is they said no, that wouldn't be any issue for the city if we reopened the actual thoroughfare into the marsh. So I'm hoping we can make it happen, right? So cool. All right. Have a good day. See ya. Bye. Paving. That's what that call was about. Surprise, surprise. No, so that brings up a good point though. We're talking about the marsh. I would like to see Barnes Ave Bridge reopened, but we aren't even though we're in a better position, we're not in the best position financially, which is why I do want to get a consortium of people together, whether it's federal level, state level, the DOT, the DEC, the different wildlife conservation groups, and get them together to really highlight why we need this bridge open, because it was closed in 2010 and the cost to replace or repair has gone up, I don't know how many X, right? When the Barnes Ave Bridge closed, that community lost their access. Yes, you can go to the canal and park your car. You can go to Marcy and walk in or bike in or run in. But, for people who wanted to grab their fishing poles, walk down or bike down and, go for a hike, do anything like that, go for a cool nature walk with the kids. It's not open for business for West Utica. I mean, it is more of a conservation park rather than kind of a maintained and curated park. So it's a little bit different flavor. As far as all the other areas in the city though, all the neighborhoods need their little parks, so someone can actually get home from work, eat dinner and walk down to the little park and get on a swing set with their kids. It's literal quality of life, exactly. And I do really believe that closing the Barnes Ave Bridge changed the quality of life for the people in West Utica. It's going to take more than the city of Utica to wake it back up though. So this is truly, really an initiative type situation where, someone can't promise to fix the Barnes Ave Bridge if they are a council person or, running for mayor, or even if you are running for county executive, as far as I'm concerned, because there's going to be cost involved. But it needs to be a priority for discussion and a priority to reopen that access somehow in some shape or form. There were businesses, there was activity. As far as developing a marsh, I think we read about that when we were kids with Sangertown Mall sinking. I don't think they should be developed. They should be part of the permanent resilience as far as, you know, land conservation in Utica. I want to see this open for people, not redevelopment in that sense. Yeah, how long did that take? We've been walking about an hour. Started in Marsh, and here we are in Utica. We stopped quite a bit too, so if you're riding your bike, what would that be like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes probably? Yeah. You know, the marsh is a resource and amenity and a, you know, quality of life feature of West Utica. It really needs to be woken back up. So, we'll see where it goes. There's gonna be a lot of people sitting at that table, especially if it has to do with funding for this bridge. But it might not just stop here. The key is I'd like to see the marsh, a feature of Utica that's not just some bike trail that you get to off the canal or from Marcy. So, check it out, Hope Street. Get a shot of Hope Street. That's where I spent Christmas Eve every year growing up. My Aunt Mary's house. It's pretty cool. For me, there's a lot of like actual memories here. So this part of the community is and should be important to people.